Good evening. Can
Good
Ernie, if you
evening.
can hear me, give me a thumbs up.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Good
Right.
evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for tonight's fireside chat. NNOA volunteers with the transition assistance team and offers a plethora of experiences in nonprofit, profit, government, entrepreneurship, and academia. We're fortunate to have senior executives from a variety of professional backgrounds who have volunteered to share their experiences and advice in support of NNOA members facing transition. Leaving the military can be an incredibly intimidating experience, especially if service is all you've known for most of your adult life. Knowing what obstacles lie ahead can help you avoid pitfalls and manage your expectations. Tonight, we're honored to have Lieutenant Chelsey Curney, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about her background, her time in the service, and what she's currently doing this evening. So, Chelsey, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Look forward to hearing you.
Excellent. Thank you. Can everybody hear me all right? All right, perfect. So I'll just go ahead and jump straight into it. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to chime in and ask them, stop me if there's something you really just, have a question about, of course. I'm gonna drop in the chat this veterans resources document. Give me 1 second though. Apparently I can't drop it because it's in use. So let me exit out and then drop it so everybody can have it.
Go ahead, I'll take care of that.
Oh, okay.
You just go
All
ahead and
right,
talk.
perfect. All right. And if there are any updates, you all can just update it and I'll drop a new updated copy just in case. So I'm just go ahead and share screen then. Hopefully everybody can see that. Let me get this out of the way here. Okay, so in the resources that I posted, these are just a lot of things that I use personally that really work for me. Just a little background on me. I'm a SWO. I commissioned out of Florida A&M University, FAMU, in 2016. I then went to San Diego to be on the USS Comstock, amphib out of San Diego, did a fifth fleet deployment with that ship, and then came back for sustainment phase as well as a yard period. From there, I got forward deployed and went to the USS Wasp out of Sasebo, Japan. I was the ADC on that ship as well as the assistant SWO officer or senior watch officer. And then from there, I was able to go to Morehouse College as an ROTC instructor. Loved it there. If there's anybody that's gearing up for their possible short tour, you can ask me any questions about that later on how I was able to swing that gig. So from Morehouse, I decided to go ahead and start my transition out of the military. I stayed at Morehouse for about 3.5, almost 4 years. So I took my full time to just focus on all of my different medical appointments as well as my transition out and see exactly what it is that I wanted to do. So just to go ahead and dive into that, I used a lot of different resources. Use every resource that you can, but specifically I came across this link on military.com that I just thought was just excellent when talking about the best things you can do to like 10 great transition decisions you can make 1 year in advance. So just so I can use this as, kind of a guide here. Make the decision about if you are going to get out or if you are not going to get out. I think that's, very important because a lot of people dibble and dabble on that line. Plan for first thing, plan out where you're going to go next. If you plan on moving, know where you want to move. So you look for, job opportunities in that region. So I think that is the best decision also to make. And also decide if you want to go back to school or not. Like, what does that look like? Are you going to use a GI Bill? Are you planning on using some other type of assistance or resources. And there's a lot of different resources out there if that is something that you all are looking into doing. Another big thing that I did was document all my different medical issues. My entire short tour, I literally used for that because I literally did not have any time on sea tour to really do that. Not saying that's a good thing. If you can do it, absolutely do it. But if not, short tour, if you're still thinking about whether or not you will do it, is a great time to do that. So something that I used in order to help me with filing my disability claim was this organization right here, and I have that Eventbrite posted as well. So veteran transition support, and if anybody else knows about it and knows that it's such a good thing, like, you know, you can chime in as well. But they have this Zoom call that actually, sorry, was tonight from 1600 to 1800 PST, but they have them like once a month. So you can use those links to see when the next one is, but it literally just walks you through how to prepare to file your VA disability claim. They also walk through like because it isn't always about if I can say this correctly, it isn't always about the disability claim that you are trying, you know, to put in your record, but also the way in which you explain it and the words that you say it with. And they have a lot of different resources inside of the Zoom call, specifically with the veteran foreign wars, if I'm not mistaken, veteran of foreign affairs, something like that. And it's gonna come on, and she's basically a lady that if I can explain it correctly, she's a lady that works specifically with the Marine Corps base at Camp Pendleton, and really more so helps, like, because she's in that time zone, in the, you know, California time zone, and she pretty much walks you through your entire disability claim. They submit it for you and all of that, like literally walks you through, tell me from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet exactly what's wrong with you. And she is extremely thorough. If anybody wants her personal information or anything, you can also reach out to me. But if you go to this Zoom link, she gives you all of that as well. So I think it definitely worked for me. I was able to, you know, get as much as I could get, is what I'm gonna say without, you know, saying too much. And if you need any help with that, also you can of course reach out to me. Other resources that the Veterans Transition Support has is a lot of times they'll have different Zoom calls for like a 5-day no cost Lean Six Sigma Green Belt. And I'm gonna talk more about different certifications as well. And they have stuff for Green Six Sigma Yellow Belt, you know, for you to be able to get another, you know, certification if you would like to online, OSHA safety course, stuff like that. All right. Another thing, of course, like I said, with the VA type stuff, get the surgeries, get whatever you need to get on your short tour. If you, of course, have time to do that, that is the best time to do it. You know, don't feel bad about it. That point is all about you. Another thing I thought was really great, so that they pointed out, apply for the ACP mentorship. So America Corporate Partners, I did America Corporate Partners, and I can honestly say that it helped me tremendously. And good segue into that is talking about your LinkedIn. When it comes to LinkedIn, that is pretty much the bread and butter. I feel like the bread and butter of how you're going to get and land a job in the civilian community or the federal, you know, workforce as well, but specifically because I work in, you know, the civilian sector, with that community. So ACP is basically a mentorship program where they link you with the person that in the industry that you possibly want to work with. So me, I just said I wanted to be in corporate America. I wanted to have somebody, I didn't care. They do it based off if you want a man, if you want a woman, if you want a specific race, specific gender, anything, like whatever, it's whatever you want your mentor to be. I said I just wanted somebody in a good industry, Fortune 500 type industry, who made a lot of money and could mentor me. The person I ended up getting linked with was a British woman who used to work for Goldman Sachs up in New York, and she ended up actually being the CFO. I didn't even realize it until I, did all the research on her, the CFO of Goldman Sachs. And honestly, these are just people who have reached the pinnacles of their careers and their respective industries, and now they just want to mentor others to help them get to where they want to be. The first thing she helped me do was narrow down what exactly I wanted to do, because I can honestly say, being a SWO, I did not know how my skills were transferable and what I really wanted to do. I just know I wanted to make a lot of money with whatever I did, and I didn't want to continuously be working my body extremely hard if I could at all help it. And that's kind of as far as I went. And then she was able to narrow down, like, okay, maybe you want to be a project manager in this specific industry, in that specific industry. She went through everything, tore my LinkedIn apart, tore my resume apart, like 5 or 6 times, and completely helped me drill down and do everything. And then when I was finally at a point where I was working on my different fellowships, so I did like a skill bridge where I work with Hiring Our Heroes, which I'll get more into that a little bit later. She was able to help me with my interview prep, which is extremely important. And she was able to talk me through, how to do oh man, I'm gonna need some help on this one. I'm drawing a blank. When you're doing interviews and they tell you to ask they ask you a question and you're supposed to frame it in
Star
yes,
method.
STAR method. Listen, companies eat off of the STAR method. They wake up and breathe the STAR method in interviews. And all you need is a few good stories. And if you can land on that STAR method the way you the way you need to, that is the best thing. Right. And of course, she went through all the different like most important questions with me, like, first question they open up with. So tell me about yourself. So land that plane, and you'll be going in a good direction. But I definitely recommend ACP because they're just gonna set you up on the right path. And these are people that have hired people, a lot of different people in their lives, and fired a lot of different people in their lives. And I can honestly say it helped me out tremendously. So sign up for ACP for sure. American Corporate Partners. And then also DoD Skill Bridge. So there are a lot of different skill bridges you can do. And honestly, some people don't inform you of this, but if you wanted to do a skill bridge of you being like a entrepreneur, or you working for like someone specific company, you can do that as well if that's what your intentions are. But specifically, I know I wanted to do a skill bridge with a company where I was with them, hands-on 2 to 3 for 2 to 3 months, and really get that experience and get that face time with them. So at the end of the skill bridge, I was able to be hired on for a job. Specifically with the skill bridge that I chose was Hiring Our Heroes. So I also posted that resource here, and there's a lot of different ways for you to go about it. Like there's Hiring Our Heroes fellowships with Microsoft, with of course Google, that's a big one. There's ones with I think the Coca-Cola factory was there, maybe even Home Depot, Lowe's, CBRE, just a whole gang of different companies, right? And basically how Hiring Our Heroes worked was you do all the applications, and once you are chosen for your specific time group, and that's one of the most important things, is making sure that the Hiring Our Heroes fellowship, the cohort that you want to do, is in the same it's within the same time frame of you actually transitioning out of the service, because you have to be able to do the cohort within that time frame. Otherwise they're not going to admit you into the program. So I say that to say I did not realize that, at one point. So I had to change my transition date around quite, a couple times. That is extremely difficult to do because it takes like almost 2-3 months for it to go through like PERS and all those different, individuals for it to eventually get approved. So as you're applying, make sure you're looking at the dates for the cohorts that they send and you're applying for the right one. Otherwise, you will be denied and SkillBridge will be denied. Going forward with that, once you are approved for the SkillBridge and approved really for hiring our heroes, they're going to have different meetings with you. So it's pretty much going to be a whirlwind at first, like the first like 2-3 weeks, especially when you're doing all of the interviews. There's just a 2-week period where I remember doing like 3 or 4 interviews a day with all these different companies, which is, amazing. And then you have 2 or 3 different rounds of interviews with those said companies. And then when it's all finally said and done with you, what you want is to have options for you to choose your fellowship. And in order to have those options, you have to interview well. You have to do a lot of different research with those companies. Like, for example, the company that I did my fellowship with was HNTB, which is one of the companies I kind of work with now, but I'm kind of a contractor for. So let me try to move this out of the way. When you're going to interview for a company, the main thing you need to do is look up the about for that company and learn as much information as you can. And as well as look up the different statistics for that company, because they're going to ask you certain questions like, okay, why do you want to work with us? What, makes our company somebody that, or something that you would want to join in on? And things that, I popped up in my mind because I, did the research and stuff like that. Oh, well, I saw that you all are number 1 in 2024 for best companies for veterans to work for. And I saw that, y'all recently gained a project in, the city of Atlanta working on this road or working on this highway. And, I grew up on that highway, bring in all those things, let them know that you've done the research on their company. And, that means they're going to want to work with you more because it's like, oh, you actually looked into us. You just informed me about something about my company. And, they love that type of stuff, right? Obviously, it's something that I actually am passionate about, but, sell the deal, right? Or seal the deal. Furthermore, when it comes to hiring our heroes, once you do find, hopefully match with the company that you want to match with after all of your, stellar interviews, you're going to this one day when you select the actual company that you want to work for, and you literally go in, it's this whole like link they send you, you press accept, they accept you accept them, and then the next week you pretty much get started with the Hiring Our Heroes Fellowship. It's a Monday through Thursday in office, usually in office fellowship. It depends on how the company that you work with, irons it out for you, because it could be, if your company is fully remote or fully remote for what they want to hire you for, then maybe you work fully remote. I wanted more of a hybrid job because I wanted to be able to go in office some days, but I also wanted to be, remote some days. And you can't really, I couldn't travel with my fellowship. That's not the way they had that set up. I don't know if there are others that do let you travel. I think that's more of a personal decision. But I was also open to travel like on site for, different things, definitely around the city if that's what, if they were open to that idea. Furthermore, when it came to the Hiring Our Heroes Fellowship, of course, as you know, like it's not paid. You're still getting paid as, a military officer. So, you don't have to do timesheets and stuff like that. And your hours are pretty standard. They pretty much told me like, usually come in around 8-ish. Like if I wanted to come in around 7, I could, but 8-ish, 9 o'clock, usually you're gone by like 3. I was gone by usually like 3 at the latest 4, unless I was like doing something actually out in the field, because there were some instances where, because I was doing stuff with transportation and infrastructure, there's a lot of like board of commissioner type meetings you have to go to, city hall meetings, because those are the times when they possibly are talking about those projects. And a lot of the stuff when it comes to the transportation industry is strategy. So that also gives you a leg up because we know a lot about strategy. So that's a lot of the talks that they have. The only difference is I feel like their talks about strategy are like 2 to 3 hours long or 4 hours long even, and everybody's sitting around the table talking about, okay, what does the governor need? Like, how can we more appeal to the governor and land this project than this, competitor? So not as serious as, lives in your hand, obviously, but it's still very important, right? Because these are mega $1 million projects that people are trying to land for the companies, and that's where the big bucks come from. So Fridays usually, or yes, Fridays you are remote, like fully for Hiring Our Heroes, because they have what's known as, it's kind of like the professional development type days where they'll have other people come in and talk to you online about different veterans resources when it comes to still like job searching, interview prep, stuff like that, especially when you're getting towards the end, because technically you still are supposed to like interview and like you're working towards landing the job with that company. Now, what I will say is the company that I wanted to work with, H&TB, that I did the fellowship with, wanted to hire me. Were very adamant about hiring me. We're going back and forth with HR. However, around the time when I was getting out last year, because timing is everything, in August, with everything that was going on with, the different elections that was going on, not just the, United States election, but also the city elections, because that, there are different projects that come up for those that have to be voted on by those different constituents in the different counties and cities. They went through a hiring freeze. So that really scared me, because I've been spending all my time with you all during this fellowship. And now it's the possibility that you all can't hire me. And that ended up actually being the case. However, they found a place for me within one of their subcontractors. And, now I work for Road Fox, as a result of that. So lucky me, they were still able to find me a place, and I'll get more into that as well. But that's Hiring Our Heroes. And also they have this other part of Hiring Our Heroes that is separate that you can do afterwards if you like, but it's called Career Forward. I actually did go through them to get a certificate with Google and data analytics, but they also have some for IT support, project management, user experience, and I think they're probably trying to create one from through the grapevine, I heard, on AI and stuff like that. So it's always good to get this badge. It really doesn't take long to get. I think I got it within like a month, but they give you like 6 months to get it. Also, if you're wanting to do a Hunger Heroes Fellowship with more so like hands-on skills, like if you want to work with like HVAC or plumbing and electrician type stuff, they have fellowships for that as well. All right, going more into it. Going into the licensure. So if you're trying to get different licenses, so right after and during while I was on my fellowship, I actually was able to get my PMP. Which if you are looking into doing project management and stuff like that, is an excellent thing to get. Sure, it's your project management certification. So this is amazing. Like Syracuse University, if anybody else really knows about it. Sorry, I'm trying to close this out. I don't think I can. I'm so sorry, guys. That pop-up window is just going to be there. My apologies. But Syracuse University, IVMF specifically, it's fully paid for, through the military and stuff like that. So it's onward to opportunity. So O2O program. And basically what they do is it's all these different course offerings for, cybersecurity, for these different certifications. Sorry, I'm not a cyber person, but if you all are, you probably know what all these things are, for the recommended career level if you're a beginner, advanced, stuff like that. They have stuff for information technology, for networking, if that's what you're into, or cloud services, if that's more of what you're aiming for. I know me, I'm gonna scroll all the way down. I was in more to the business management side of the house, so project management. I wanted to get my project management professional certification, and these are all the different requirements. So I already had a 4-year degree, and then for the 36 months for leading projects, all I did was use the stuff that I did for 3 years at Morehouse. So when I was doing retirement ceremonies, when I was doing commissioning ceremonies and planning those, even when I was out there in the fleet and I did a few, y'all are gonna hate me. Oh my God, it's been so long. So those ceremonies that happen on deployment when, after I did one for like Talisman Saber, which was out in like Australia, but when you do an operation and you have a closing ceremony, yes. So when you do those type of things, and even when you're doing like different, you can use a lot of different things, because a lot of what we do in the military as officers, and I'm going to talk specifically to SWOs, is a lot of projects. So I know it can be difficult at first, but literally it's like 120 words, 120 characters that you have to talk about all these projects. And of course you have to give like a reference, for these. So you pass XO, pass CO. And honestly, a lot of that stuff, like a lot of the wording, you can use Chat GPT to help you out with that as well, to help you build up what you want to say if you're having difficulties or going through it. And then for the 35 hours of project management education or training, that is what Syracuse University, the IBMF program gives you, right? So they have different boot camps. I just did the 5-day boot camp, just got it out the way. It was a full 5 days. I think I used one of my spring breaks from Morehouse, or either that, or I like took a full like week just of leave, and did the 5 full days. So I got the 35 hours that I needed towards the education. And then that was that. So what they offer you though with the, excuse me, I'm so sorry. What they offer you with the 35 hours though is the opportunity for them to pay for your PMP exam, or whatever other exam you're planning on taking for whatever certification. Now they only pay for it one time, so you have to ensure that you are ready, because you do not want to end up paying for all these different exam certifications, because they cost like upwards of sometimes $200 for these different things. And if you can get it for free because of our service, I definitely say get everything you can for free. So different things that you do have to do in order to meet the requirements, however, are you have to do like 3 practice exams, and that's the full length of the exam. So usually for a certification, your exam is probably going to take 3 hours. I know mine took about 3 hours. Sometimes it can take like 2.5 hours, depending on what you want to do. But I know I had to do 3 different practice exams, and get an 80% above 80% at least on all of them, on all the different practice exams. And then just meet all the other little requirements, like submit your application, submit the fact that you've done 36 months leading the projects and stuff like that, and you can absolutely do it. I think I was able to get my certification. So from March with the boot camp, and then just and contact me if you need any sorry. Contact me if you need any specific help with the PMP, because that is its own conversation again. But it is a lot of work and it is a lot of studying, but if you can get a SWO pen, you can get a PMP, okay? And vice versa for, my aviators and everybody else out there. But it's completely worth it, and I'll tell you why. Because when I was getting hired on at my company, at first my starting salary was $80,000. That was flat for what I was getting hired on as. Now I will say for what I originally wanted to do in the project management space, depending on the company that you want to work with, that does range anywhere from probably like 110 to probably at least 145,000. And that's me not having an engineering degree. I have a political science degree and an MBA, right? So being competitive in that way, like for me personally, right? However, because I was just trying to pretty much break into the industry and just have a job, I said, okay, I'll become just the auditor on projects, which just picture it this way. If you're a project manager, you're coming in basically, it's like, you know, a O1, O2, like you're actually managing a division, you're managing a warfare and stuff like that. Being an auditor, it literally feels like I'm EAP or I'm like ATG. So it's like, I'm kind of like skipping steps, and I'm like, now I'm telling somebody about their stuff being wrong, even though it's like, you literally never done this before to tell me what I'm wrong at. But it's like, well, I have the training and you're wrong. So sorry, but it is what it is. I'm just your auditor. Don't blame me. But sorry, I say all that to say, I came in on the level of, you know, 80,000 was the minimum, but because I had my PMP, they jumped me up to 91K. So that's how, you know, having a certification can benefit you and make you more competitive and make you have a little bit more, you know, buying power. So that is what's going on with IVMF. Also, and this is something that I am going to get into myself, another program that they have one for entrepreneurship as well, if that's more your speed, but they also have something for the veterans program for politics and civil engagement. I am planning on doing this program as well because I do plan on getting into politics. As of right now, I sit on my the city of Jonesboro, my local government city board of ethics committee, and I do plan on running for city council for my city in November, and I can't submit my name until August, but I do want to get as much information as I can. So what this program does is basically it's supported by JP Morgan Chase, as well as, you know, IVMF, and they specifically target the needs of veterans and military connected individuals who have an interest in pursuing a career in politics. So if that's also something you're interested in, you can also do this program, and they, you know, like I said, pay for it. I think I'm still getting my information on it, but I've heard that it is like a good program. They help you with your different campaign information. They help you with your resume. They just pretty much walk you through different facets that you might want to look into. So there's that. And of course, like I said, completing the certification. I think I skipped over this, but when I was going through completing my certification, I started out my boot camp in like mid-March. And so my study time from mid-March all the way until pretty much mid to end July was what I needed in order to pass my certification. So how many months is that? March, April, May, June, July. Yeah, 4 months. So that's pretty good for trying to like start from nothing towards your PMP. It's entirely possible, but it's all about, you know, grinding it out and studying and being very adamant about it. Like, hey, for 2 or 3 hours or more, this is literally what you're going to be doing. And like I said, if anybody wants any extra information on that, please, you know, hit me up afterwards. This also is really good. I was trying to bring it up bigger if I can. Sorry, I'm trying to open it right now. Here it is. So I literally use this for myself. And if you can, obviously try to find a more updated version if there is one out there, which I'm sure it is. I saw it a couple days ago, but I couldn't find it for our meeting specifically. Let me log out a little bit. So this is a retirement planner, but it still works very well for as a separation planner as well. And literally all I did was made this like a PDF document and literally just went through and marked off everything that I needed to do. Of course, I X'd out anything that didn't, apply to me specifically because I didn't retire. But this was extremely helpful. Like, it has the stuff for if you want to get a Lean Six Sigma on there, if you want to start an MBA program, I definitely suggest starting that way earlier than a year out, though. As well as if you want a PMP and when you should start your separation physicals, when you should start your medical records, business cards, like it literally has everything on there. If you're looking into federal jobs and stuff like that, if you want to go into USA jobs, like it is like this was one of my, guiding documents, I definitely would say. Let's see. So I thought that was a really good one. LinkedIn is going to be your absolute best friend, I will say. I had to go in and update a lot of different things with my LinkedIn. And when you do like your different fellowships and all your different organizations that you join, they're going to go through these things with you as well, and they might even personally review them and tell you things that you need to update. Always want to make sure you have a great headshot. Usually people like a little bit of color, especially in the background. You can have a regular headshot, but usually depending on, what you want to do is kind of how you want to center your headshot. I know for me, but since I wanted to go into more of a the private sector, they said a pop of color was good, so I decided to wear a pop of color with my shirt, but still have like either the navy blue or the black suit on, but you don't have to do that, of course. But I was also told if you were looking towards the federal government that you kind of want to stick to, kind of more uniformity. So absolutely like black, suit, navy blue suit, stuff like that with maybe a white undershirt, blue undershirt, something like that. Have, of course, the different cover images. Make sure you fill these things out very well, because this is like the first thing that people see, even when, they click on individuals. Look, would you looky there. And have something fun in there as well, because when people see not even when they interview you, they want also a little bit of fun even there, like make a tasteful little joke here and there as well, because they have to picture wanting to work with you as a person. You're a person that they're going to have to see every day, possibly for the next, who knows, 10-20 years maybe. So they want to make sure they hire the person that they want to be able to talk to, at work. So I put in there pet lover, because I was like, oh, should I put dog lover? What if the person who's wanting to hire me is a cat lover? I'm just gonna put pet lover. Like, I'm gonna hit every little wicket there. And then I wanted to put extrovert, but I was like, if somebody's introvert, I'll just leave them alone. But I'm an extrovert. It is what it is. And then of course, put in all my different, stuff. Okay, MBA, PMP. Put in your security clearance, just in case, because you never know what could be more appealing in a job. And make sure you post post as frequent and as often as you can, especially while you're looking for a job, because you want to get that outreach as much as possible. Furthermore, you definitely want to make sure you have 500 plus connections. That was something that was really ingrained into me. So if you don't already have 500 plus, I would definitely recommend going to career fairs, going to different conferences. Shout out to the NNOA conference. That's where I first kind of started out on my LinkedIn journey, and I was able to get so many different connections through the conference that way. I went to the first one I went to was the Annapolis conference. That was a great time. Met a lot of different people. Ernie, whoop, whoop. And Alan as well, of course, and Donald, love you too. Oh, go ahead. Oh yeah, clap, clap. Okay. And then I was able to meet a lot of those different connections there. And you always want to make sure you have greater than 500. Ernie, I didn't need you. I was just shouting you out. Listen, you don't have to come off of your video. But the reason you want to get to 500 plus connections, because until you get to more than 500, this is always going to say 359, 400, and it just doesn't look as good. Like, it's like when you go on Instagram and you see somebody with a K. For some reason, we go crazy when it says 3K or 1 mil, 1 M, whatever. It's stupid, I know, but you need it and you want a job, so just do it. And of course, making sure your about section is, really good, because that's something that, they specifically reach out for. Chat GPT can help you out immensely with this as well. Did somebody just bang me? No? Okay.
No, somebody was just joining, that's all.
Oh, okay. All right, perfect. So trying to think of what else. Your experience. So when going through your experience, I know you're going to want to just put, like I did at first, okay, I was a naval officer for 8 years, and then just having just one little blurbage here for naval officer. Don't do it. Go through, take the time, and go through each job that you did with the time increments and what you did there and the skills that you gained there. That is things that jobs look at. I didn't think they did, but somebody literally pointed out something to me from one of my, not even my experience position, but the Google data analytics position, license. They were just like, oh, like, I didn't know you did, like, how was that? And I had to, speak to it and speak to, what it taught me and stuff like that. But all these things are important, and they do look at all of them. All right. And then just gonna be going back here, make sure I hit on this. Oh, break line. Specifically, if you're a person that's interested in the tech industry, I will say I did do break line for a little while, and it is a good, it's to the tech industry is the future in general. We know this, and it is a good industry to go into. And I will say break line is something good to participate in if that's something you're interested in. At first I was looking at jobs for, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Apple. They have great resources, and they'll add you to, their Slack, and they'll talk about a whole bunch of different things on their Slack for Breakline and for those specific jobs, and setting you up for interviews and stuff like that. So if that's something that you're interested in, I definitely recommend Breakline, like I said. So the different partners, BetterUp, Google, I'll just click on a few. So if you're interested in, these type of jobs, this is definitely the place where you want to be at. Now, I will say they do make you do, like, different homework assignments at first before you're admitted into it. Like, you have to do little essays, and you have to send in a introduction video, like a professional looking, video where you're talking about yourself, and you give your, oh my God, it's not an opening statement. Why am I drawing a blank? Y'all know this. Elevator pitch. Okay. Where an elevator pitch is extremely important. I have, if anybody needs help with their elevator pitch, I can send you mine if you are interested. But elevator pitches are very important as you go to different conferences and stuff like that. You're going to pretty much need to have that on hand, like, ready to go. And they make you send in an elevator pitch and, all that different stuff. So I will say that if tech is something you're interested in, Breakline definitely is a good way to go. I wanted to be able to stop 15 minutes prior for any questions. So let me make sure I hit on everything. Yeah, I think that pretty much sums everything up. I can say that I love where I am now. Transitioning is hard, and it's going to be difficult, but you can do it. And be calm. I know I was not a very calm person myself when it came to transitioning. I stressed myself out a lot about it, and I completely get it. And you're in a safe space. I'm in a way helped me immensely with my transition, just from different conversations, of course, different resources, and just other people also going through the trenches with me as well, like when they were, transitioning. So does anybody have any questions for me?
I do have a question for you. This is Captain Barnes.
Hi.
So
My hands up.
I didn't see your hand up. I'm sorry. I yield to your hand raised.
Just real quick, couple questions. Did you get your command support as you're going through the transition? And then can you speak to other mentors that you utilized?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I honestly had full support from my command when I was going through my transition. That's why I also think that being on shore tour is the absolute best time to transition. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how people do it on a sea tour. And I know trying to give you some examples. So I also made sure my command was set up for success in the event that I wasn't able to be there. I made sure that my relief was, there. So it's like there's no real need for you to have me. If there's something that you need me to be at any type of meeting, of course, let me know. But honestly, they just treated it like I had already pretty much transitioned. Different other resources that I had, honestly, a lot of other people that had gotten out, even people that were, Army, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, I utilize every resource. Reddit is actually extremely helpful as well when you're transitioning out, especially when you're going through your disability process. YouTube has a lot of good resources when it comes to disability stuff as well, and a lot of stuff when it comes to your PMP. But honestly, also going to the NNOA conference, because that was where I first kind of like started my transition journey, especially when we were in, I think when we were in was it in Annapolis or was it in, I think it was both. But
Annapolis.
yeah, in Annapolis. There were different transition resources, there were different PowerPoints, and different, conversations, of course. I know Ernie helped me a lot because he had a friend. Sorry, Ernie, I'm putting you out there. So if people come abusing you, it's my fault. He had a friend that worked for Delta. Alan, I don't even know if he's on here. If you're not Alan, I'm so sorry. But Alan worked for Lockheed Martin, and Lockheed Martin is actually a major player in hiring our heroes, because they have a major corporation in Marietta. So if that's something you're interested in, you have a connection there. So utilize every connection. They say that you're only 2 or 3 connections away from some big important person. Like, we could be 2 or 3 connections away from the president for all we know, right? I know I'm 2 or 3 away from Drake, so that's cool. But yeah.
Okay, I have my hand up this time, Biscuit. I found the button. Chelsey, first of all, thank you so much for your presentation. I think it's a different angle of attack in some respects, because most of the folks that we've had as Fireside Chat speakers were more senior 05, 06 transitioners. And I mean, that experience is a whole lot different because they're looking for jobs in a different area and really don't think about some of the resources that you provided as opportunities. But my question really is this: if you're transitioning out as a 06, you've had an opportunity to build, how I'll call it, for lack of a better term, a war chest, to where you don't necessarily have to go back to work immediately. Many of those guys and gals, spend 5, 6 months out chilling before they even get interested in looking for another job. Transitioning as a lieutenant, how important is it for you to have built up funds, resources, so that when you do transition and you don't find a job immediately, even though your search begins early, how important is that? Because I remember as a lieutenant, I didn't have a whole lot of extra disposable income to be able to war chest myself and not be able to work for 3 or 4 months. So did you do that? Did you intentionally set aside monies so that you wouldn't have to worry about the rent and the car payment and the vet bill and everything else? How important is that?
Absolutely. I will definitely say, if you are a lieutenant, and specifically, I'm not trying to, put us out there, but us SWOs, I will say that I do think it's a little bit harder for us to transition because we are more general officers. I'm just going to be completely honest. And there are probably, you know, different officers in the Marine Corps and the Coast Guard who probably have this same issue. But I know, like, you know, if you are an aviator or, you know, a sub officer, it's very different for us transitioning versus, you know, them. And I definitely did have to save up. I think I had at least 10,000, if not more, like saved up, like preparing for my transition just in case. And even in that, you know, I did have to dip a little bit into my Roth IRA. Roth IRA. Did not want to do it. I cried about it, but luckily within like literally a month, I was able to put that money right back.
Right.
But you know, even when I talked on the phone, and I have like at first I started my Roth IRA through Charles Schwab. And that was only because, you know, I have USA, and at first it started out with USA, and then as we know, they did the whole shift to Charles Schwab. And the guy that I was on the phone with, he sounded like, you know, one of my old granddaddy friends or something. He was like, listen, sometimes you have to do what you have to do, and that's fine. You can pull
That's
this
right.
money out, and then you can put it right back. Just remember to put it right back. And I was
Very
like,
good.
you feel so good about being poor. Thank you.
Very
Um,
good. Yeah. Yeah.
but saving is definitely very important because, you know, I also got lucky because at first, when I first got out, because also you never know when I'm just going to speak plainly. You never know when the disability check and all that stuff is going to come in. So I didn't even count that money because that was unknown money to me, right?
Right.
Like that money was not there. Like until that money actually came to fruition, it don't even count. And at first, my initial estimate they gave me, I'm just going to be honest. Okay, I know this is recorded, bad me. But at first, I only got like, you know, I was thankful, but I had 80%, right? So with that, I was still well below what I made when I, you know, got out of the military. But I was willing to take that hit because, you know, I was ready to get out, and that's just, you know, what I know came with the territory. However, because of, you know, things happening the way they happen, I was able to, you know, raise it and get, you know, to where I wanted to be and needed to be. And now I make more money than I made when I was actually in the service. And that's what we're always, you know, aiming for. But those things are not certain. You cannot count on it at all, especially even with today's climate and everything that is going on. So save up as much as you can, especially you swells out there, and start planning your separation process well in advance. Do not wait till the last minute with hopefully anything. I started my disability process right at the time, the 6 months when I was able to do BDD. I'm telling you, do BDD. Don't wait until you get out if you at all, you know, can, but yes.
So where did you grow up at? I missed that part. What part of the country did you grow up in?
Decatur, Georgia.
Okay. I knew you was a Southern girl. Big Mama and them taught you well.
Yes, they did. Absolutely. They taught me how to cook. They taught me how to clean. They taught me how to take care of myself because we don't play none of those games.
Very
Absolutely.
good. Congratulations. Thanks.
Thank you.
Gal.
I don't know how to lower my hand. I'll figure that out.
We'll figure it out.
Chelsey, one, I appreciate your LinkedIn game. It's been fun to watch. You know, when you transitioned as a lieutenant, when you got to the city of Jones, you were city of Jonesboro, correct?
Yes.
Did the state or federal government view your military as positive? And did you find that other organizations or civilian companies did not view it as a positive? Was it ever a hindrance for you to have military experience?
If I'm being honest with you, absolutely. Nobody cared that I was a veteran. That did not matter at all in the process. As a matter of fact, one time when I was interviewing with a civilian company, they literally asked me, like, you know, why are you even getting out? Like, why do you even want to do this? I see your resume, like, are you, I see that you've led this and you've led that. Like, what makes you think that you can even come here and like be a follower? And I'm just like, and I'm assuming he also assumed that I'm just used to either like yelling and, you know, basically being a drill instructor, and that also that I can apparently like take orders. And that company was like a branch off of like Home Depot. I think it's called the UD company, UH, I don't know. And I was just like, I'm a person, and that is not also how we just operate day to day, is just like Full Metal Jacket yelling at each other. I said it obviously in a better way because I wanted him to hire me. But yeah, so it is very interesting how people view you initially. And I will say I got turned away from just about every single job that I applied to. And the only reason I have the job that I have now is because there was an Army Corps of Engineer man who like saw me, interview with me for Hiring Our Heroes, and it's all about connections. I felt like I had an amazing resume. I felt like I had all these different qualifications, all these different certifications. I interviewed well, but all people really see is like your experience. And no matter how much you try to civilianize, you know, your experience, they still don't really understand that you are literally a jack and Jill of all trades. And whatever you tell me to do and train me to do, I can do it better than anybody that works for you. Like, you know, give me like 2 months and I'm going to be, you know, not even running with the wolves. I'm gonna be running the wolves, you know?
That's
But
a great point. Excellent point.
yeah, so honestly, it's all about that networking. And I don't, honestly, it got to the point to where I felt even down about submitting, apply for everything, absolutely, but I just felt like if I don't even know the person, there's no reason to even like know someone there. It's kind of useless to even apply for some of those jobs. But not telling people not to do that, always apply. But I'm just saying, like, people really don't, people make it seem like, you know, oh, we love veterans, my person, my daddy served, my whoever served, but when it really comes to wanting to give you a job, now there's a hesitation somewhere.
I think
So
companies almost fit in two different buckets. Either they have a lot of veterans and they're comfortable hiring veterans because they love the discipline, they love your commitment to a mission and commitment to their company, or they fit in the other jar where they think you're rigid, that you're too disciplined, that you won't fit in with the non-military people. And so you're almost playing one side against the other.
mhm.
Um, and there's really nothing you can do. It's the culture of the company really that determines whether they want you or not.
Exactly. And luckily I had a like I said, I feel like I still had a good company that like saw that, especially since they saw me in person and was able to, you know, be with me day to day, that, you know, went, I feel like, against the grain on that. But they also, I felt like, do support veterans. However, you know, it's just difficult for veterans. It just is. I don't know why. I don't know if that's something new and if that's a new change or something. But I mean, there are people that do value our service, and there are people that do want to hire us, but it's just, it's hard to find, and you have to do everything you can for them not to have, for them to have a reason to really want to tell you no.
Yeah, I
Let me
remember
make
I
a
left the
I-
military and went to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission where 80% of the GS-14s and above were Navy nukes or some kind of nuclear trained individual. And so I looked around and I saw my whole entire Naval Academy, every class there is represented there in some case. But you're exactly right. Your experience is very interesting.
Hey,
Bruce,
let me chime in on if you, Chelsey, if you would allow me.
Thanks.
There's always been a problem with a lot of the black JOs not being sufficiently mentored. A lot of them leave in the first tour, or even during the first tour, and usually have a very sour disposition when they get out because they felt the Navy didn't take care of them. First, a few years, they spend a lot of time standing and watching, getting all the qualifications, those type things. And there are those terms in the Navy, each they're young, which is actually true. So my thing is that you get as many NOBCs, additional qualification codes, as many as you can get. That means you are qualified in multiple areas. And then, so once you achieve those AQDs and those type things, some specialty codes, those are helping build your resume. And so make sure you are competent and you're in those particular areas. And you have to make yourself attractive when you get out. If you're getting out mid-tour, in the first tour, and you're not adequately prepared to get out, you're just out because you had a bad experience, you want out. Maybe, you're not setting yourself up to be successful and you're going to sort of struggle. But take advantage of those few years you're there. People are gonna dump on you, but figure out what you want and how you're gonna get it and how it's gonna translate, to the future. Don't up and get out because you got mad and you don't have a backup plan.
Right.
And then so when you talk about a veteran, your Black veterans, educated Black veterans have even more difficult time because now you represent an actual threat.
Exactly.
You're knowledgeable, you're educated, and you're Black. So they want to keep you at arm's length. So how do you break that ceiling, and how do you apply for those jobs in a non-threatening manner? When you show up, they automatically know who you are. They look at your skin tone. It's your job to win, not to lose. So hopefully, you can sort of comment on some of those things that you might have experienced.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there. There is probably still some discrimination in there too. Absolutely. When they see our faces. But all you can do is go against it. And like I said, make it extremely hard for them, hopefully not to tell you no. And also networking is big, having that person in there. I feel like that's the only real way to fight it, if I'm being honest.
All right, Bruce, I'm going to give you the last and just want to be respectful of the time since it's after 8. Quick question. And then Chelsey, if you want to answer, respond, and then wrap it up.
Oh, I don't think I really had a question. It was probably to augment something that you said. I was at a Service Academy Career Conference several years ago, and I wasn't there looking for work at that moment. I was or networking. I was networking a little bit. I was trying to scoop alumni into the Blue and Gold program. But anyway, I overheard it was a commander, I think, and he was in a line. I don't remember the company, but he had his resume, gave it to the rep, and he was describing himself. And he said, I could do this, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this. And the rep said, well, we already have a CEO, So the point was that our resumes can't come across as intimidating to folks. And sometimes strategy is to where we can, we gotta tailor it, we gotta customize it. But there will be those that would be threatened by the amount of responsibilities, amount of the number of achievements that you usually get as a Naval or Marine Corps officer at a young age. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So I'll give you the last word, Chelsey. And again, I want to thank you for joining us. To Captain Barnes's point, it's one of the things I'm trying to do is, as a group, be of assistance to active duty members that aren't necessarily deciding to get out, but understanding that this is a resource as part of NNOA, and not that you have to go through it alone, but there's a lot of experience out here, and yours is unique in that you're leaving one job and you don't have the luxury of sitting back and relaxing. So getting out there and grinding. So what's your message for folks like you in that transition window, obligation for services coming to an end, and you're holding your cards, not necessarily sure you want to jump ship yet, but ultimately have that in mind?
Yeah, absolutely. Wait a minute, was that a question? That wasn't a question, right?
So the question is, if you want to comment on what would you tell your counterparts that
that
are
are
in
still
that, yeah,
still debating.
still in the fight.
Oh, still in the fight and not wanting to get out?
No. That's a thought that comes across maybe every other watch.
Oh, yeah. If the military is definitely, if it's something you really want to do, I definitely obviously say stick with it. I mean, the more Black officers, Black female officers we have, the better. But if you really realize, I've done all I can do, and now I do want to make my transition out, because we're all going to get out eventually. Eventually, we're all going to be veterans one way or another. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And as long as you still are giving back in the form of service, I think that that's a good thing too. But make the decision and plan for the decision. Don't just let the decision come upon you either. But I think the best thing you can do is plan. What's something that I absolutely live by is failing to plan is planning to fail. So that is in every single thing that you do in your life. And if you think that you want to get out of the military and you want to make that move, you have plenty of resources at your feet to make that happen. It is scary. It's the one thing you're probably going to do one time. I mean, maybe you go back in and you do it again, but for the most part, you're probably going to do this one time, and it is a very scary thing. But it's okay, and it'll be okay. It will be okay.
All right. Thank you again. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight, and appreciate you taking the time.
Okay, wait. Can we please do a print screen real quick? I want to do a picture, if that's okay.
Sure.
All right.
That is you, folks.
All right. I think I did it. I hope I
Yeah,
did it.
yeah.
If not, I'm gonna take a picture because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm so sorry, guys.
Are we gonna end up on LinkedIn?
So
Yes,
we
and
can,
add me on LinkedIn. I posted my number as well as my email in the chat for anybody that wants any information.
all right. So Mike, if you want, you can stop the recording, and Chelsey, if you want to stick around, for those of you that want to hang out,